Welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good. Cheers.
All good, mate.
We're back from the opening credits. You'll know that we are actually talking about Bon Jovi, or Bon Hovis, as we affectionately know him. That's another chat for another day. So this was the gig at Milton Keynes Bowl, which effectively replaced the Monsters of Rock show, which took a year out between 88 and 1990 for well-documented reasons, which we've covered on an earlier pod, which you might want to have a look at. So this was arranged in the summer of 89 as part of the Jersey Syndicate Tour. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So 65,000 capacity at Milton Keynes Bowl. And I know we're going to go to the ticket, but most importantly on the ticket, no camping. No camping. And you really couldn't camp in either.
There was no room to camp.
No, there wasn't. And not on that day for sure, because it was absolutely rammed. So before we go on, please give us a subscribe. It's free. Tell us your memories of the day, if you were there. From memory, I think it was a pretty warm day, actually. It was quite a nice day. Lots of beer, but it was a good day. So let us know your memories from the day. And let's kick off with a press ad, Scav. Over to you.
We've got a sold out version. So back to Dill's point, it actually did sell out, and they were all over the press saying, don't arrive without a ticket. So yeah, I guess everyone that was going to go to Donington decided to go down south for a change, which suited us down to the ground because it's just down the road. And obviously not a full Donington lineup with the 4 bands, but pretty strong lineup, which we'll go through individually in a bit. But yeah, kind of basic really in terms of the press ads. You had the stuck to like 1 or 2 different types of photos, mainly with the main man himself, blurry image. And then the tour program didn't really pay homage at all to Milton Keynes in any way. It was I guess it's the same tour program for the world, which is what we've got here. Huge, as usual. I don't know how I got this back in one piece, but it is huge. But both me and Dill did, which is incredible. The ticket, as you saw earlier, got completely ruined. So thanks, guy at the door, for that. But I was 187, so obviously straight in there. Look at that!
Yeah, really
Wow,
good.
that's brilliant.
Amazing.
Shame it's ruined. And
Is that yours there, Dill? 36,000.
No, I took.
What's your number on your ticket, Dill?
49,198.
Quick draw McGraw there.
Interestingly, though, we were talking about this earlier. I went on. I think you must have come on the coach as well, Gab. But we ran there was a coach running from the King's Head in China, and it was packed. And I think for those of you that weren't around in '89, I'm sure most of you watching this were around in '89. It's really, really hard to explain quite how big this type of music was in 1989. It was huge, absolutely massive. And Bon Jovi was sort of leading that crest of a wave. They were, look, they've always been big, but they've always been loved in the UK. Yeah. And Jan was saying earlier, and I'm sure we'll mention in a few minutes, about the number of dates that they did in the UK and particularly around Europe per se. But yeah, it was. It's hard to explain quite how big this type of music was in the late 80s. They were absolutely massive.
And quite how big the hair was.
Yes.
In the minibus from the Crown.
Yes.
Including
the smell of hairspray, no doubt.
Yeah. What was that hairspray? It was hard rock. It was in a purple pink. Do you remember it? Spicy.
No, obviously not. No. I was into metal.
I've never put hairspray in my hair in my whole life.
I'm sure it was called hard rock hairspray. It was in like a purpley pink canister. It was massive, and it absolutely stank. If you lit a cigarette up anywhere near it, someone's hair would go up. It was just yeah.
We will bow to your.
I was a hair down guy, not a hair up guy.
Oh dear. The days. Bloody hell.
Anyway, Dill hasn't got this, which is the merch sheet. Just fell out of my program this week.
Wow.
But,
did any of you get a T-shirt?
No.
No, it was 1989.
Definitely
we didn't buy T-shirts in '89.
No, we stopped buying them.
Yeah.
Because we were too cool, right? Too cool for school at that point.
We spent too much on alcoholic beverage.
4 or 5 beers there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
moving on.
the first band was it. Now here's the thing, right? I'm not sure whether it was or not, but this could have been Skid Row's first ever show in the UK. I'm guessing it was, unless they did a marquee warm-up.
Yes, this was Skid Row's first gig in the UK, which is pretty bloody amazing.
Nice
As it happens, they did apparently. They played the Marquee Club the following night. Sold it out, obviously. Did a storming night. If anyone was there at that, give us a message below because I'd love to hear about that. Yeah, the Sunday night they played the Marquee round. It was a hell of a night.
Brilliant. I mean, they were on fire at this moment in time, weren't they? They had all the confidence in the world, all the songs.
Yeah.
And they were under John's wing, so it was before they fell out. Because apparently, as that photo would attest, they were best mates, and a bunch of them went to school together. And as soon as John made it, he wanted to help these guys along, and everything was rosy. And then it kind of went sour after that.
Yeah.
When they realised they were making tons of cash for John, allegedly.
Exactly, yeah.
And not them.
So when you say they went to school together, they're about the same age. I didn't know that.
Those two, yeah.
So when we saw Jovi in '84 sporting Kiss, Skid Row would have been the same age. Nuts.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
It took them another 5 years to get there.
When you're drawing a set list from that debut album, it's just absolutely bonkers. And as I'm sure you'll all notice which songs were missed out. Typically, that's why I'm glad I didn't go to this. They missed "Can't Stand the Heartache," which is one of my favourite tracks on the record. They didn't play. I'm not sure why they chose to not play that. But otherwise, the whole of the debut album's there.
Well, they played a Sex Pistols cover instead, Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love a cover version.
I never really understand why metal bands often did Sex Pistols covers.
Well, there's plenty more coming up in these set lists.
Yeah. Well, I think we've said this before, and I think it was about Skid Row. But yeah, a lot of American bands seem to think that rock metalers over here loved punk, but no, we didn't at that age. We didn't consider it to be the same
in the 70s.
They did over in the States. They thought
in the 70s. If I'd have been that age in the 70s, I'd have probably gone to Pistols gigs and I would have probably bought the records because it was a movement that I'd probably been thinking, oh, see what it's like. But
now I haven't got a problem with it either. I've got Sex Pistols albums and
same,
good songs. But at the time, I was thinking, what's this?
Yeah,
damn
it's
right.
It's not one of ours. What are you doing? And there's a bit of a disconnect.
You got to remember, back in the day, the genres were split.
Very
really split. You didn't see people. You didn't go out with a new romantic girl because you just didn't do that sort of stuff in those days. I'm harping back to the early '80s there, but you just didn't. There were a load of goth fans around at this time as well, and you just did not mingle.
Yeah, mods, casuals, and and punk was that. Punk was a different. It wasn't a genre of metal. It was another whole different type of music.
And again, with the hair metal thing, and Jovi, very much beautiful-looking guys and playing a certain type of metal. You can not call it if you want. You had Skid Row, who also had the hair and the mates of Bon Jovi, and they played actual, in my opinion, proper actual heavy metal. And they were very different. So they're awesome that they appeared on this. Brilliant.
I remember them going down particularly well on the day, and they were really, really rocky and tight, and the crowd were going nuts.
Yeah.
They were just absolutely brilliant. I was very surprised to see such a good opening band at a festival. Arguably the best opening band I've ever seen at a festival. I don't think they've been beaten, and I'm putting myself out there with that. They were just incredible that day.
2 points I would make. Firstly, I wonder how many tickets. I don't know when they were added and when it sold out. But I'm sure that had put some people would have gone for Skid Row on that day.
Definitely.
Secondly, Skid Row to open up this festival below Europe and
below Vixen. That's nuts.
Skid Row then came back. They played the following night while they were here at the Marquee. They came back in November the 13th and sold out. They headlined Hammersmith Odeon. I mean, what that's all about? They literally headlined, the venue as far as metal, rock music is concerned for us.
Good fact.
Mad. But
and they were getting lots of positivity in the press at the time as well through Kerrang. And then we saw them come on later supporting Motley Crue and White Lion. They were the first band on that as well. Interesting.
Yeah.
Below White Lion, which is nuts. There you go.
That's true. We've done that as well. So that's another pod you can check out.
We're big Skid Row fans. We know this. I mean, that if you're watching the killer albums of 1989, you'll be able to see us break down the Skid Row debut album. And again, that pod we're waxing. We're talking going into a lot more detail, aren't we?
And the Jovi helping out his mates, Skid Row, has an echo of him being helped out by his family. I don't know if you guys know that, but his uncle was a record producer, so he had a toe in the business already, and the movers and shakers helped John Bon Jovi with his first album, record contracts and stuff like that. I think his uncle was a producer for the Stones and people like that, so he had plenty of influence back in the day. So maybe John was just paying it forward.
Yeah, and of course that Bon Jovi spelled with the Giovi might have thrown the odd person early doors.
Yeah, quick change.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's Skid Row, and on top of Skid Row were Vixen that day.
You heard something we haven't.
Nice one.
Anyway, Gav, do you remember anything from this?
I liked them.
Keep it clean.
Yeah, please keep it clean.
Yeah, I thought they were right. You know, they were. I think I'd seen their videos a couple of times somehow on TV, and
Somehow.
I got the record, and it's good. It's really good stuff.
That's some hair, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's some hair there.
Sorry, did you buy the record at the time? Is that from back in the day?
I had the CD, I think. No, this is one I picked up. It's got
Okay. Okay.
promo copy. No, I didn't have it on vinyl at the time because it wasn't. I don't think I was buying vinyl by '89. I think I'd switched to CD.
No, but you bought the CD at the time. You bought the record.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I definitely knew the three singles or two singles.
Fair dues.
Crying was one of them. It says it's a cover on Setlist FM, but I think it was just I don't know for sure, but it's a song that was on the album and written by somebody else. I'm not sure whether it had previously been a hit or anything, but it's a good song. They can all play as well.
There's definitely a Jeff Paris version out there if anyone wants to go look at it.
Okay. I've never heard that version. So,
And they played one song less than Skid Row, who were on before them.
Yeah. And if anyone has heard,
But at least their cover version was decent.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I'm sure they do a good fist of it. So, yeah, it's good.
And they had a bass and a drum solo, which is exactly what you want on a day out at a festival when you've had a drink, for a bass and a drum solo.
But if it's bass and drums together, it might have been pretty interesting because you don't normally hear that. So it's better than just some guitarist noodling away. To have the bass and the drums together would have been pretty good.
No, we don't remember.
So it might have been a bass and then finishes in the drum solo, and you're like,
I think Dill might have been in the forest at that point.
Having a wee.
okay,
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, it is possible to have an entertaining bass and drum solo. Me and Gaffney used to be a blinder.
Yes.
Anyway, interesting T-shirt as well. So that was an event T-shirt.
Yeah, it was dreadful, isn't it?
If anyone's got that T-shirt, please let us know.
That's the back. That must be the.
That is the back. Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
The front, I think it's just got a picture of them. But
okay,
it's not okay. A program. It's a different one. So it might be unofficial. I don't know.
Okay.
I was just having a skirt around to try and find something that said.
Yeah, it's worth putting on there because it's terrible. It's worth us to see how bad it is.
Okay.
And they got two logos as well. They got the logo with the Vixen head in it, and the logo without. And
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So which is a much better logo, to be fair.
It is. Yeah. I couldn't find the version without the cat, so I left it in.
Probably a fox, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it's the cat family, isn't it? I don't know.
You're right. Quite. I couldn't find the version without the fox.
Yeah.
So good drum kit as well.
Yeah, we love the drum kit. It's Tama, your favourite.
I'll put him because of a cat.
Anyway, let's go.
Cat last week.
Leave that in.
The Cat on the Live 70th special edition.
Yeah. We've got. Do you know what? Every day's a school day in this pod, so I hope you're enjoying it. Right, next we had Europe, and they were pretty huge, right? They were on top of the pops. They were on all the kids programs.
And you've just made me remember. You've just made me think
they had a
of
massive fight with Final Countdown, and one of the was it You Give Love a Bad Name or Living on a Prayer for being number one? I can't remember which one it was.
Well, I'll tell the story of you, Gappy, at school. Gappy comes. Gappy, do you know the story I'm about to say?
No, but I'll remember it when you tell it.
Comes into school and he says, "I've heard the best song ever. So some things don't change. He said, "Oh, the best song ever. I've heard it. It's brilliant. It's the best song ever. You're going to love it. It's the best. It's going to be a #1 in the charts. I guarantee it. I'm 1,000,000% sure this song is going to be in the charts at #1. It's the greatest song you've ever heard." And we were all like,
probably quite inaccurate.
We've known him forever. We know he's talking out of his arse because it's always the greatest. And someone going, yeah, whatever.
Gosh.
Well, as it happens, several weeks later, he was talking about the final countdown.
I do remember that.
It went to #1 in the charts. And we're like, what the fuck? And he's like, told you. And we're like, yeah, if you make stuff, I've known the guy for 40 plus years. God, no, it's too many, isn't it? 45 years. He's made a lot of claims. And that was the day, do you know? That was the day. Right.
He's made a lot of claims.
That was the day I won. I won that day.
He was right. He was right that day. Oh, yeah. But well done, mate. You said it, and it was true. Yeah. We'll have to look up the dates. So we know what date he was correct. It was 85.
Yeah. On this day, he was correct.
Do you know what? When you have your cremation, Gaps, you can play the final countdown as everybody leaves the chapel.
I'll tell you what, it's not a bad one. It's not a bad one to go with.
Cheerio song.
It'll probably be a Slayer song, but it could be the final countdown.
Oh dear. Anyway, on that bombshell, Gav, any memories from Europe on the day?
I think they were coming together like proper. Well, they were always a good live band because they've been going for ages before the final countdown in Sweden, as we all know.
Yeah.
I think this was the second commercial album, as in European or even global, and it's a damn fine album. But this had been out a while, I think. I think they were like getting ready to do their next album at the point. Here, they changed a guitarist for Key. We thought he was great, and as I understand it, there was a long gap between this album and the next album because the record company rejected some of the songs they'd lined up, and some of the songs here didn't make it onto the next album, which was that one, Prisoners in Paradise. So they were going through a bit of a time, either at this time or just after this time. If there's any Europe fans out there, please fill me in.
I was watching I'm about to fill you in, I think. I don't know. Okay. But I was watching an interview with them at the event, the backstage on Hard and Heavy, which you can find on YouTube if you need to. And they were having a chat, and they were saying they were in the studio and they were offered this gig, and they thought, yeah, why not? We want to play in front of some people because they're in the studio and they're having a bit of a time. And they said it's a great opportunity for them to play. They said they were going to play 4 new songs that day. It was before they did the show. We're going to play 4 new songs, and it'd be great for, it's great for our fans and everyone. We want to see how it goes down. When I was watching this interview, I thought, the last thing I want to see is a band play 4 new songs at the time that I don't know when I'm on the lash, especially if it's a band like this that I would know most of their songs. You know what I mean? Superstitious Rock, like all these songs. But they did. Look, it says here they did 3, so they dropped one of them in favour of a couple of covers.
Well, only one appears with that title on their album, which is Seventh Sign.
Interesting.
So the others might be reworked or rejected.
Or went down like lead balloons at the MK gig, and they thought, we're not doing that again. But yeah, so they were in the studio. They broke out to do this. So
well, as it turns out, Prisoners in Paradise is a great album, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Brilliant.
Quite collectible if you can get the picture disc now, people. Yeah. I had it and I sold it. But yeah, I think they were probably brilliant. I can't really remember much about them, but I know the crowd were going mad.
Yeah, they were. Rock the Night as well. What a tune that is.
It's a great tune, but look at the set list, people. They finished with the final countdown, come back on and do a Beatles cover, and then Hound Dog. What's that all about?
I don't remember.
Final countdown should have been an encore, really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's weird. If they done the set and then thought, we need to do a couple more songs, they've just played a couple of, or not? Because could that be not?
Well, got the timing wrong.
We need to do an encore.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Play a couple of tracks.
I don't know if anyone else remembers. It seemed like quite a long gap between Europe and Bon Jovi. Maybe that's me just remembering rightly or wrongly. And it was starting to get quite cold in the evening as well by the time Bon Jovi came on. But there is video footage on YouTube of this, and it's it's great. I thought Bon Jovi were great. Do you want to go to the set list, Gav?
Mm-hmm.
So they kicked off with Lay Your Hands on Me. And I do remember this quite hard, with this sort of era, because we were all having a few bevies and, to recall some of these gigs to their entirety is quite difficult. But I do remember him coming out of the stage. He came flying out of the stage and lay your hands on me. It was brilliant, absolutely superb. And then just a plethora of hits and top songs before, of course, we get to the obvious cover versions, which I'm sure you boys will cover in a few minutes. But I thought it was a great show, actually, and I did actually like this album, New Jersey. Yeah, it's good. I think
it's a great album.
If you go onto iTunes, there's 2 essential albums. One's this one, and of course the other's Slippery When Wet. So they were at the height of their powers, I think, with these 2 albums, and they were definitely on form from just a powerful live act. It was brilliant.
Some nice ballads in there for Jamo.
I do remember Steve Tyler coming on, which preceded their tour of the UK, because they hadn't been to the UK for over 10 years. So maybe they were just checking out the vibe, etc. in the UK before they did their tour. Toured Pump initially at Hammersmith and then the arena. So yeah, like I say, it's hard to remember and explain to anyone that wasn't around at the time quite how big this type of music was.
Well, to finish with a Motown cover.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, as far just to set this, we were just today. We were talking earlier on the pod. We were saying about the band. Bon Jovi were massive. They'd supported Kiss in '84 as a support band, and we got them. And Jovi were like, in the States, they were very small. John was going around on his, pretty much trying to do stuff, and as the pretty boy sort of thing. But we loved them as a band, and we loved them early doors, and they were playing Hammersmith Odeon here before they were playing any proper big gigs in the States. So they broke it here big time. They never seemed to forget that in my book. And the Slippery When Wet tour, which went on forever, and at the end of which John Bon Jovi looked tired, worn out man. He looked a mess. But when he came back, they came back with this record, and they started touring. It was October '88. They did 4 Birmingham arenas, big places in the UK at the time, 4 Birmingham arenas, and they did 4 Wembley arenas, sold out gigs. And I went to one of the Wembley arenas, that one. That was it. Then they booked this to do a sold out Milton Keynes Bowl, which at the time was the big outdoor arena, other than Donington for Monsters of Rock, which obviously was cancelled. They then, at the end of this tour, the end of the year, December and January, they came back again and did another 4 Birmingham and another 3 Wembley arenas and a Hammersmith Odeon. These guys sold the tickets. They were absolutely massive. And Dale, when you said, I looked at that YouTube, the footage on YouTube is really good for when it was in '89. John came out on stage. He was buzzing. When he came out to Lay Your Hands on Me, which I've got to say, personally, is a brilliant opening tune. One of the greats.
He comes out of the stage, doesn't he? He comes out he fires up out of the bottom of the stage, doesn't he?
When I was watching this, I just saw him jumping and dancing around properly. Obviously, his vocals always shot to shit because he's not a great vocalist, but as a front man, superb. And he's doing all the dancing, which I'm not going to do now. He's doing all the moves. He looks amazing. His hair's gorgeous. He's got the long New Jersey jacket, and he's giving it everything. So up for it. And the crowd sounded immense, but the song is so heavy. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, there's a proper good old riff in there, isn't there?
Yeah. It's the way they opened that up. I just think they were. Yeah, they really did. They were making it their own from the very off. When they'd had a really strong bill of bands that they had to follow, a band that put Skid Row on at the start and then following on from Europe, who were big at the time as well. The footage that I saw was just really, really good. Obviously,
got on top of their game, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely gutted to miss this one. To be fair,
We've been on the Bon Jovi bandwagon for years, haven't we? Because we'd seen them supporting Kiss.
Yeah, we loved them in '84. We thought they were one of the best support bands I'd ever seen.
And then we saw them at Hammersmith Odeon in '86 with FM.
Yeah. Oh God, they were awesome.
And then coincidentally, we saw FM at the Astoria headline 2 days before this.
Yeah.
So it all goes in circles.
There were a few other gigs that week as well, Gav, wasn't there? I think. Yeah,
there was. Whenever we do these, we check out just for context, what else was around. We'd seen Tiger Tails at the Astoria on the 11th of August, so the week before FM at the same venue. Before that, the Marquee, a month or so, 2 months before that, Sea Hags at the Marquee And then after the gig, after the Milton Keynes Bowl, Bullet Boys at the Marquee, and 14th of October, FM again in Oxford. So we were definitely into the kind of more glammy stuff for this period of time.
But that was what was out.
Yeah,
that was what was out there.
We also saw Last of the Teenage Idols, Dogs to More, Vow Wow. You know, we were doing all this.
How well, yeah,
traveling around.
That was the one I went to.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they were awesome.
This was my song before I moved to Birmingham. I went up to uni.
Oh, right, yeah,
so
cool.
This would have a couple of weeks before I packed up and left.
But a couple of people might remember, as far as those that are, I just want to mention the 11-minute. There was an 11-minute Blood on Blood. I watched that, and it wasn't rubbish. It was 11 minutes, but it was really strong. I like Blood on Blood. It's a good song.
It's a great song.
There was loads of build up, and then a 9-minute Dead or Alive, which obviously had Richie with his triple neck guitar there. Well, I say triple neck guitar. I was watching last night.
Yeah, it's a mandolin on the top.
Mandolin on the top. Yeah, love a mandolin. Me. So he's got his mandolin, then he's got the 6, he's got the 12 string. And again, that was just brilliant, really atmospheric. But Dill, being a massive Aerosmith and Steven Tyler fan, when they came on, the place, again, I was watching the footage, it erupted. Massive. Yeah. As you said, they hadn't been in the UK. They hadn't played the UK for 14 years.
Yeah, because nobody would have been expecting that.
No. And whether they must have been over, perhaps they were agreeing, doing stuff, promotional stuff for the, for returning, as you said, with Pump. So I'm guessing they didn't tour with Permanent Vacation here then.
No.
Yes. They couldn't have. Wow,
so
amazing, isn't it?
When they toured with Pump, that was the first time they played here for a very long time. And of course, they initially booked Hammersmith Odeon, which sold out in seconds, and then subsequently the album did really well in the UK, and then they subsequently booked arena shows in Wembley.
Yeah, we had me and Jamo had tickets to that one, didn't we, Jam?
Yeah.
You'll see this on another pod if you ever watch one of our other pods.
You can't tease him, but me and him in his Mini. It was like a Thursday night or something. We drove all the way to. Literally, we drove both of us, which meant we weren't having a. Well, Gappy wasn't having a drink, and we got there and we said, "Do we really? Are we really in? Do we want to do? Was it a wet Thursday night or something? Do we want to go in?" And he said, "I remember us both saying, should we not? So well, should we just see what a tout might give us?" And then we sold our tickets, got back in the car, drove back to the pub, and had a night out, didn't we? We were hammered. On a school night. Yeah, on a work night. We both just got absolutely pounded. Great night. Yeah, weird choices you make as a child sometimes.
Very strange.
Yeah, a lot of effort to go down the local pub.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Especially Pump's a bloody brilliant album anyway.
It's brilliant. And do you know that show? The show at Hammersmith in particular was amazing. It was absolutely superb.
Don't tell us that.
It was brilliant. And the one I do remember Steve Tyler doing the backflips and everything. He used to wear that cat suit. There's a lot of stuff like cats at the moment, but anyway, he used to wear the cat suit, backflips. He was incredible. And then I went with Tommy because I'd moved up to Birmingham for uni, and Tommy and I went to the Birmingham show, and that was an interesting night. Japanese friend of ours, Hero, was a little bit worse for the wear because we've been with him all afternoon. So that's another story.
He led him astray. But
Hammersmith was the 15th of November, and Birmingham was the 18th of November.
Yeah.
Choir boys supporting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But when Steve Tyler did come on stage for this, his voice sounded superb. I know it always does, but straight away he was going, he was giving it all. And it was just, poor old John had to sing with him. Bless him. He didn't let himself down. But you can't.
He was grinning from ear to ear, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's sharing a mic with this
legend
with the voice that Steve Tyler has. And I was like, when I was just thinking, oh God, this could be. And it was fine. It's okay. But just for the Thin Lizzy cover, I looked this back, but John, he made his little speech just before, bearing in mind this is 89 and Phil passed away in 86. He just said, "Oh, anyone here from New Jersey?" I said, "What's he going to say?" He said, "Because this is a band, one of my favourite bands that just didn't seem to be appreciated over there." He said, "This one goes out to heaven for Phil." And then they played Boys Are Back in Town, and nice. John played guitar. Lovely. And because I thought, this could be a bit iffy with the keyboards instead of the twin guitars, but no, John played guitar with Richie, and it didn't. We're not a covers fan, but it felt if they're doing it as a tribute, I'm like, fair play. That makes sense. You're choosing a song and you're saying a word about a legend that is Phil. Yeah, fair play. And I thought,
and if you think there is a lineage there, because the Phil songs are talking about America and people and situations and storytelling, and, you know, so with Bon Jovi's. I know you could argue a lot of it was taken from Bruce Springsteen. You
so
know,
I thought that was actually quite apt. And we slate cover versions often, and rightly so, I would say.
Especially when bands have got so many good songs. That's our point.
Yeah. But when they did that, at the face of it, you think, boys back in town. But when you put in the context and when he says a few words and then they play it really well, a good version, you think, okay. But then again, as you said, they then finish with Shout.
Well, talking of cover versions, if you're interested, please go across to our live channel talking about Steve Tyler, who joined the Black Crowes at Hammersmith Odeon earlier this year. We've got that song video, Mamakin, which is a cover version for the Black Crowes, but Steve sounded brilliant in that as well. And then, ironically, a couple of weeks later, retired. And that's it. His last ever live performance. Amazing. And we were there.
By young Dylan.
Yeah. So please check it out. It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic.
The irony, he sounded great. He sounded great, didn't he?
Great. Brilliant. Yeah, incredible. Okay, so that was Bon Jovi. You got some aerial shots here, Gav.
Yeah, a few people there. I mean, not the odd patch, but that's a lot of people. And what a great venue, you know.
Brilliant.
We said this on the Marillion one, which is another one you can check out if you haven't already. It's such a great venue. And not just because it's 45 minutes from my front door.
I know. But it just feels underused.
Yeah.
What it has, what it's got, and if you
haven't more
been
used again now.
Yeah, they've done a couple this summer.
They had a reggae festival, really good. Really good, to be honest. A big reggae festival.
My daughter went to see Chasing Status there, and packed. Absolutely
Brilliant.
But for those that haven't been there, it is physically a bowl, and you can see it. But where it's a great bank, and it's a grass bank, but of course it was hot, and all the sun had got rid of the grass, I think.
Dusty mud. Yeah.
It's so good. You've got the choice. You can go down the front and give it large, or rather than just standing at the back of a flat field festival, you can actually go up a hill, and the view is to die for, isn't it? It's great.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a really great vibe. And the times I've been there, I've just loved every second of it. It's so good. Yeah.
I haven't got that Kerrang, but I wish I had. Live from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really hard to find photos. I'm sorry, folks. There's not that many photos in the show tonight, but I'm sure that Kerrang's got loads of good ones if you can track it down.
Okay, brilliant. So that's Kerrang, and that's Bon Jovi at the Milton Keynes Bowl. A couple of things came next.
Me and Naz went to see that at the cinema.
Did you? Cool.
Yeah.
It came about because they wanted to use Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
And John said, no, I'll write you a song. And then he went, no, I'll write you an album. And apparently there's people like Jeff Beck, and there's loads of like famous players on this album. Jeff Beck does the solo in Blaze of Glory.
He does, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I love the album. I bought it the moment it came out, and I was just all over it. I loved it. I loved the film. It had that was like the Brat Pack of the time. All the brilliant, everything about it. Jovi was in it, wasn't he? He was in it as a little bit, a little part. He had a walk.
Has anyone ever looked so much like a dude and that guy in the video? You know, he looked bloody great at this period of time.
So cool.
And then a year later, Richie did his solo album, which was received as well. Yeah,
brilliant. Loved it. Really loved it.
Then they came back together the following year. So it's probably quite good for them, you know, for the health of the band to go away and do stuff like that. Because I don't think Richie was seen necessarily as a failure at this point. You know, he did well. Yeah. But I mean, Bon Jovi is Bon Jovi, so.
Yeah. And that Keep the Faith album I thought was great. It's really good. I liked it.
And Keep the Faith was good too, yeah. And it's like change of direction, the odd haircut.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was really controversial, wasn't it, when he cut his hair off?
Yeah.
But he had a new cool hairstyle.
Yeah, but he was growing up, and it was I thought it was right. He did really well. It shows
smart. It was just smart, yeah. And
that's however many years ago, and he's that's
cool. That's the last album with this lineup.
Yeah,
you know, I think officially, is that right, Jan?
I'm not sure. I think
I'm sure it is.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah,
let us know. I think it might be, but, before the bass player left.
Okay. Good. Well, that's Bon Jovi. That's the Jersey Syndicate tour. which we were part of in the brilliant and huge show at Milton Keynes Bowl. Now, sadly, we don't have any footage of that on our live channel, but we've got lots of footage of loads of other bands and loads of other stuff. So we normally post a couple of videos. So please check it out. Please give it a sub. We'd really, really appreciate that. And if you didn't know, this channel is approaching 500,000 views. So you won't be alone with other brethren that are loving it. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can either through Facebook on Tales from the PowerAge. You can have a chat with us on X, formerly Twitter, on TTFTPR. You can see what we're up to online on www.talesfromthepowerage.com. If you want some merch or badges, you can get that from redbubble.com too. So look, I hope you enjoyed that. That was nice memories, thinking back all those years. 35 years ago. Where's the world? Where's all this time gone? Finding it. Anyway, on that bombshell, see you soon. Bye.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.
Adios.
Bye bye.